nice of people thinking that we're like gonna like sacrifice a goat or something before they can hang out with us. We haven't, by the way. No goats have been sacrificed unless we're making delicious lamb shanks. In which case, let's kill them all.
All right. So
And
one of
is not a fan of me. That last sentence that I just said. Sorry, Peta.
oh, it's all good. So let's see. One of the most popular asked questions was, will your fans be able to meet you guys this summer?
Sorry,
Are you doing
say one of the most popular asked questions?
asked?
Oh, asked.
Axed it.
Let me ask you something.
Axe.
All right.
Like the body spray.
Good. Deodorant.
What you need on Warped Tour. That's one of the tips. But anyway, are you guys going to be doing signings this summer? Things like that?
Absolutely. Every chance that we get every day, we're going to be out there. That's one of the cool things about Warped Tour. You know, it's sort of you can walk around and see people and meet people, and it's an interesting opportunity that you wouldn't otherwise get in a lot of places. It's sometimes hard for bands to facilitate, you know, proper meet and greets, particularly when they get to a certain level in their career where they, you know, it's not even feasible to meet everybody in the venue. But Warped Tour kind of, you know, has always had it to where you can do signings that are very safe for everybody and fun, and you get to meet people, and part of it's just the organization. Sometimes people don't understand that it becomes dangerous for bands, you know, to have signings, people are crowding merch tables and stuff, but Warped Tour has always had it to where it's a nice kind of orderly thing where you can meet people and you can hear what they want to say to you about the band, and you can thank them for their support. And I know that, you know, last time we did Warped Tour, I had 3 broken ribs, so I had to miss a lot of the signings just because I was kind of bedridden. I would play and then I'd go right back to my bunk and kind of, you know, rest for the first couple weeks. But when we did finally get a chance to go out there and meet everybody, it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So touring brings you all over the world, and Amy wants to know what's been your favorite place to tour so far.
My favorite place to tour so far. It's weird. I don't know that I can necessarily name a particular place. You know, we've been so cordially welcomed in so many different countries around the world. Obviously, a place like England that adopted us early as kind of one of their own. But you know, we're a U.S. band, we're an American band, and to me, you know, as much as I love everywhere in the world, there's certainly something that's very special about touring the U.S. and being in your home country. But you know, from Japan to South America to Australia to England to, you know, anywhere in Europe, we've had a blast everywhere we've went. So maybe that's a cop-out answering that way, but it really does feel like they're all unique situations.
Yeah, true. Is there anywhere you'd like to tour though that you haven't gotten to tour yet?
You know, we haven't had a chance to really do like Africa or South Africa. I know there's a lot of festivals that happen in South Africa. I'd like to get there. We've been to Johannesburg, like, you know, layovers and stuff like that, but we haven't had a chance to really go there. I think that would be fun. But really, honestly, if you want to see Black Veil Brides, I want to be there. Hello, Fem. This is my girl cat. This is Fem. Hold on, I'll do cat face and she can do cat face at the same time.
I like how you have that cat face like automatically right on the screen, like ready to go.
You want to make the same face? She's the scared one. She doesn't like me as much.
Aww.
The boy cat likes me more, but she's more of a mama's girl.
It's cool. All right, so Angie wants to know, what's your favorite song to perform?
Favorite song to perform?
Or one of your favorite?
Black Veil Bride songs. It's very hard for us to perform other band songs because we don't know them. So if I know the song, it makes it that much easier to perform it live.
Be handy.
I don't know. I think, you know, honestly, anything off the new album has been so much fun. A lot of artists feel that way. I think, you know, when you make something new and you're proud of it, it's fun to bring it out and show it to the fans and see what kind of reaction it gets in a live setting. So it's anything off the new record.
Do you remember your band's first show?
Yeah, I do. I remember. It's different because I put it into different sections. The first show that I can remember specifically in Los Angeles with like the current lineup of the band was in the back parking lot of the Tony Alva skate shop because we couldn't get shows anywhere. Nobody would book us anywhere. And so Richard Villa, who runs the art gallery portion of that, and Tony Alva, the skateboarder, really loved our band and took us under their wing, and they basically gave us their back parking lot to play a show, and they built a stage, and I think we didn't have a backdrop or anything, so they ordered like 900 black balloons, and there was a wall of balloons behind us, because otherwise it just would have been like, you would have been looking at a parking lot, so it would have been like someone's residential house behind us, you know, so we covered balloons, and then I think like we built like these gnarly trees out of PVC piping, like Tim Burton trees out of like I think if I remember correctly, the first thing we did was we took just like Michael's craft store trees and spray painted them black and like made gnarly branches coming out everywhere, and then I taped little cherub dolls with bloody tears coming out. It was all very horror punk and misfitsy, but it was enjoyable for being a fucking parking lot show. I don't know what the scale is for parking lot shows, but it's one of the better ones I've seen.
That's awesome, though. So, do you ever get nervous or have stage fright?
Honestly, I think that my one thing is that I don't know if you can tell by talking to me for the last 10 minutes, but I really enjoy the sound of my own voice. And so I've always assumed that everyone else would as well. And so the nerves don't really come. It's more like I can't wait to get out there and share with you my joy. No, honestly, my whole life I've loved performing so much, if I'm being real. It's something that I always wanted to do from the time I was a little kid. I would dress up like Kiss and force my whole family to watch me perform, Deuce or whatever. I remember the first time I ever performed on stage was at a Kiss Expo in Indianapolis. I performed, I was like 8 years old, and I performed a Kiss song for the ex-drummer of Kiss, now the current drummer of Kiss, Eric Singer. And that was my first time, and I think since that moment, it was like, that's all I want to do ever. I want to be on stage. It was so much fun, and I could just kind of play a character and release myself and be something interesting or fun, outside of day-to-day life. I think sometimes young kids, when you want to do something creative, you don't necessarily have an outlet, and sometimes people's outlet is through, dressing up interestingly or, expressing themselves creatively through writing or art or whatever. For me, it was always performance, and if I could ever find an audience that would watch me long enough I'd always perform something.
That's great. Samantha wants to know if you have any rituals before or after shows. You just go
Do I have any rituals before or after shows? Honestly, I think it's every day is a ritual on tour. I think that people don't necessarily understand that a lot of touring is sort of Groundhog's Day. You wake up around the same time every day. You go into a venue that looks very similar to the one from before. You play your show, which is the highlight of the day, and then you go back to your bus and you do it all again the next day. So the whole experience of touring, after a week or two, it just becomes second nature, and really the highlight of every day is the show. And actually, there's an interesting point that I read. I think it was a while ago. I read something that Gerard Way said about this being the only art form that gets a chance to redo itself, and I thought that was interesting because if you do a painting, you hang it on the wall and then it's kind of over with. Whereas rock and roll musicians get the chance to every night go out and their art form gets to change. I get to sing slightly differently. I get to perform slightly differently. So even though the rest of the touring world is kind of monotonous, going on stage is sort of the one like crazy freedom that you have, and you can kind of do anything you want. Maybe I won't work on tour. Who knows? Maybe I'll just be crazy.
That's a great quote, though. So do you know if you guys plan on working with any of the nonprofits or any of the causes on tour?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've been involved with Shirts for a Cure with Chuck last year, and we hope to do that again this year. Honestly, we're big supporters of Nikki Sixx's charity, Running Wild the Night, which isn't involved with Warped Tour, but that's something that we are involved in personally. We do a lot of proceeds for that, and we're always open to charity stuff. I think it's important as our position as people and bands and having the capacity to talk to a large number of people at any given time to spread knowledge of things that can be beneficial to other people that don't necessarily have those means.
Of course. So you guys collaborate with a fair amount of people. How was working with Bert from The Used?
It's fantastic. That is the most entertaining singer when in a vocal booth I've ever seen. It's like a show unto itself. That guy goes into the vocal booth, and it was like watching a concert. Like, he's running around the booth, and he's fucking taking his pants off and yelling and hit himself in the head. And I wish, unfortunately, that day, the guy who did the documentary for our record had to leave before Bert tracked his stuff, so we didn't get to have any of that on film, which is a huge bummer. But I think we all have cell phone videos and stuff that I'm sure one day we'll see the light of day. But he's just a complete class act and a nice guy, and went in there and nailed it in, I think, one take, and we were just like, all right, cool, you did it. Thank you for being perfect. So yeah, he's great. It was awesome.
And they're going to be playing this summer, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So I don't know if you saw this, but on Property of Zach, the band Squid the Whale talked about how much you guys are a huge influence on them. And Emma wants to know what bands you look up to. Do you have any bands that gave you like the same effect?
As far as I know, that thing was facetious. Like, that guy was essentially making fun of the band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Which is all right. That's fine. At least he knows my band's name, and I'd never heard of his before. So, no, but
I think that's serious. Sorry.
It's all right. No, there's so many bands that are so influential and so kind. Even bands that aren't necessarily bands that influence me directly musically. People in them, and this goes back to Warped Tour, something like Less Than Jake, who I've always respected and liked, but it wasn't necessarily something that I listened to every day. But someone like JR from that band has become such a close friend of mine that he influences me every day as a kind and loving person in this industry. Obviously, we've been fortunate enough to become friends with a lot of our heroes, people like Nikki Sixx and Dee Snider and Sebastian Bach, and people that have had such kind words to say about the band and have collaborated with the band in many ways. So I mean, my biggest influences growing up were equal parts, like Alkaline Trio was my favorite band of all time. Bands like the Misfits, obviously AFI, and then I had the other side of me, which is I'm a hugely devoted Kiss fan and have been since I was 3 years old. I love Motley Crue, I love LA Gun. I love all that stuff. A lot of it shines through in our music, I think, but I've always been equal parts, Kiss and Social Distortion. So those are my favorite things.
Awesome. So Jessica wants to know if there was one song from one of your favorite bands that you wish you wrote, what would it be?
I feel that way about a lot of Juliet Simms' songs. She's a great songwriter. I like the whole Kids Will Take Their Monsters On album. She's got a lot of great songs on there.
And she killed it at the kickoff party.
Absolutely, she did. Yeah. I was on the stage. She was awesome. So I mean, I think a lot of my friends that write songs, I'm always happy when I get to I guess hear something that inspires me. But it goes back to Alkaline Trio, a band that really influenced me to write lyrics in the first place. A lot of their songs growing up as a kid, I'd be like, damn, I wish I wrote that. Particularly the Dan Adriano songs. I think he's one of the best songwriters, period, that's ever existed. But Bruce Springsteen's a huge influence to me. There's a lot of lyric stuff, like particularly stuff like Born to Run is such a great song. I don't think that anybody can deny that song, and that's one of those things, like, you strive to be able to write something that's so emotional and such an anthem for people.
All right, so the last album was a concept album. Did you find it difficult to write a concept album, and how did you approach it differently? Differently. Hold
on, I think for this I need to put my concept record hat on, and this is my thinking cap. And wait, no, I think I need to be a concept record dog. This really helps me write. See, now I'm bummed that I didn't have the sound effects there before. Here we go. There you go. That's where it's at. Now let me put my hat back on. There we go. Concept record hat is firmly back on right now. I think that going into writing an album that has a story to it, it all started with, I kind of wrote a short story on a flight from Europe back to the States. We had started making a record previously that had, with a different producer, that was going to be our third record. That just didn't feel particularly exciting. It felt a lot like too much of a logical follow-up to our previous record. It felt a lot like this is what Black Veil Brides should do, or whatever. And I just wasn't interested in that. So I started writing this story, and then I met with John Feldman, and it was honestly just like we were gonna, we had mutual friends for a long time. We kind of walked in the same social circles, and we were gonna try our hand at writing some songs together. And we worked together, and honestly, I started talking to him on the phone about the concept, after we had written a song, and I started going in, and he started kind of suggesting to me that maybe that's what we do with the record, because this was something that at the time I wrote mainly just as a short story. I write a lot of stories and I draw a lot. I'm not the most gifted artist in the world, but I like sketching, and I've always been really into comic books, so I like to kind of try my hand at those things, if nothing else than just for my own personal enjoyment. But I started telling him about this stuff that I was working on, and he kind of got into the idea we should do this as a concept record, and I kind of definitely got excited about that, and I brought it to the band, and we wound up writing with the help of Patrick Fogarty, our video director, and Richard Villa, who does all of our artwork. the three of us wrote a screenplay, like a film screenplay. And that was kind of the skeleton for the record. And through the course of making the album, we kind of used that as a reference point. And it kind of, you definitely go about writing songs differently when you're writing to a story. But also the main idea was to make all of the songs into parables, as in, kind of biblical stories where it can either be something that is seen directly as the story, or it can be a parallel for our real life. And I think that writing the songs was always like, this is something that means something to me, but it can also be paralleled in the story. I didn't